What are nanomaterials? What are the properties that are different at a nanoscale when compared to the bulk materials? We have seen physical properties, several physical properties such as melting point, phase transition temperature, electrical property, optical property, magnetic property, and mechanical properties. All these properties are different from that of the bulk materials. So under chemical properties, we have seen surface area is totally different from that of the bulk materials. So we have also seen the various reasons why nanomaterials show such a difference in the properties. What happens when we move from bulk to nano? What happens when the grain size or physical dimension or particle size is reduced down to nano, typically in the range of 1 to 100 nanometer? What makes these materials so fascinating? We have elaborately seen there are several reasons. There is increase in the dispersion. There is increase in the number of surface atoms. The material might move towards more pure, or material might be free from impurities, dislocations, defect, etc. Then there is an increased attractive force of attraction between the ions at a nanoscale compared to the bulk. Then we have elaborately seen the quantum confinement effect, or simply confinement effect, or also known as QSE, quantum size effect. The particles or the charged particles are the species that are responsible for conduction. When the particle size is reduced down to nano, are said to be under confined environment, their energy, their mobility, and direction, everything is changed. Because of that, there is decrease in the density of state, there is increase in the Kubo gap, there is increase in the band gap, which all results in different electrical properties, which also results in different optical properties, whether it is a metal, semiconductor, insulator, etc. A ferromagnetic material in the bulk is getting transformed into superparamagnetic at a nanoscale. Until the critical domain size is reached, until the particle size or the grain sizes reaches to the size of critical domain size, typically few nanometers, the magnetic property will remain same as that of the bulk. Once the grain size is reduced down to the size of domain size, magnetic domain size, very specifically, these ferromagnetic materials are getting transformed into superparamagnetic materials. No doubt there is decrease in the magnetism from ferromagnetism to para, but the magnitude of these superparamagnetism are much higher than that of the paramagnetic materials. Hence, we call these paramagnetic materials as superparamagnetic materials, which are going to be the basis for HAMR, heat assisted magnetic recording, heat assisted magnetic data storage. A new field or new technology coming up in order to increase the capacity of your secure disk or compact disk, whatnot, by moving towards nanotechnology or nanomaterials. In the case of mechanical properties, you don't need to go down to nano, even at the micron size. Even if the size is very close to nano size, you can expect increased mechanical strength, because of increased force of attraction, or the material might be very pure, it may be free from the dislocation, pins, or impurities, etc. So this is the overview or the summary of Unit 1 we have seen. Anybody would like to add anything more to this or make some comments, clarifications? Newcomers, as I'm telling you, please wait. So I will take complete one unit for you. The required number of classes I will take. I will schedule it. So since most of the students have joined recently last week, and so we will plan for the additional classes. Don't worry about the late joiners. It's not your fault. That's the fault of Corona, or you can blame anybody. Okay, anybody would like to add anything on this? We'll go ahead. Unit 2. Unit 2. Yes?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. I hope it is recording. Yes, it is recording. So is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Your slide is visible.
Okay. Okay. So in Unit 2, we will be learning about nanomaterials fabrication by physical and chemical methods. There are different names you can give: fabrication, preparation, synthesis. Okay, all remain same for me. Fabrication of non-structured materials, or synthesis of non-structured materials, or non-structured simply by means of chemical methods and physical methods. They are also known as top-down and bottom-up approaches. You see that we will be concentrating elaborately on top-down and bottom-up approach. In the chemical methods, we will be learning about reduction precipitation, hydrothermal synthesis, solvothermal process, sol-gel process, self-assembly, which are known as Meisel synthesis or microemulsion synthesis, thermal decomposition or thermolysis, CVD, chemical vapor deposition methods, and we'll also be studying about electrochemical synthesis of nanostructured materials. And some specific examples in these methods: fabrication of semiconductors and modification of its surfaces. All those things will be dealt up to this. Under physical methods, inert gas condensation, arc discharge, sputtering, including AC/DC sputtering, and laser ablations. So when I introduce about the CVD, then we will go back to Unit 1. We will catch up to carbon-based materials. So when we finish or when we study about chemical vapor deposition, so I will bring up these carbon nanotubes and its properties, applications. Okay. So these are the content that we will be studying in Unit 2. I hope you will like it. There is some chemistry part in it, not too much chemistry. Some basic chemistry is there. Don't worry about it. I hope you will enjoy it. Okay, so this is the summary that I was talking to you a few minutes before of the first unit. So we have seen that melting point decreases, surface area increases, including surface to volume ratio increases. Electrical property, there is a great change in the conductivity. Mechanical strength increases. There is a change in the appearance of the materials, or the optical properties of the materials are different. and the magnetic materials are getting transformed into superparamagnetic materials due to reduction in the grain size. Due to reduction in the grain size. When we move from bulk to nano, it means you have to take bulk material, take hammer, go on subdividing. This method we call it as a physical method because there are no reactions. So then you end up with the grain sizes, a typical grain size is about 1 to 100. Then you try to measure these properties or parameters, and you will see that there is a changes or increase or decrease depending on the materials. This is the summary we have. This is the content we have seen in the unit 1. So unit 2, as I told, we will study about synthesis of nanostructured materials or fabrication of nanostructured materials or preparation of nanostructured materials or simply nanostructures. Okay. So based on the material dimensions or confinement dimensions, we have 3 types of nanostructures, isn't it? 3-dimensional materials, 2-dimensional materials, 1-dimensional materials with respect to confinement dimension. By now, we should be familiar with what is confinement dimensions. In a given material or in a given nanostructure, you should be able to identify what are the confinement, what are the confinement dimensions or directions. I'm sure you should be able to, okay? If I give you about some 10 micrometer nanowire and having some radius, you should be able to identify how many nano dimensions. What is the aspect ratio associated with that? So this unit will deal with the preparation of all those materials. So preparation or fabrication of nanostructured materials, we have grade 2 approaches: physical method and chemical methods. Physical methods also known as top-down approach. Chemical methods are also known as bottom-up approach. So we know that when we say any physical process, it means there are no chemical reactions. Somebody's voice is on, so if it is disturbing others, you may put off. When required, you can unmute and talk. Okay, so when we say physical method, there are no chemical reactions taking place in such methods. Then definitely in chemical method, there will be some reaction, at least a single reaction, or sometimes multiple reactions. Physical method or top-down approach. Chemical method or bottom-up approach. As the name implies, top-down approach is like subdividing the bulk material into nano. Subdividing bulk materials into nano sizes. You take a very big particles, 100 micron, 10 micron, or whatever the size, bulk size, conventional materials. Take a strong hammer. Hammers are generally stronger, right? Take strong hammer. Hammer it. Subdivide it. Further, subdivide it. Further and further. In such a way that you reach very tiny sizes. Something like this. Very tiny sizes. When I say tiny sizes, the grain sizes should be typically 1 to 100 nanometer. Was there any chemical reaction involved? We'll take one example. Assume that this is a gold and the edge size is, okay, so let's say 100 micrometers. Edge size of this cube is 100 micrometer or 50 micrometer, let's say. And you are taking a hammer, something, some instrument, some equipment, and go on subdividing until you reach, let's say, 10 nanometer gold grains or gold cubes. Since we have taken this as a cube, assume that we are ending up with the smaller cubes of 10 nanometer edge size. Was there or is there any chemical reaction involved in it? No. 50 nanometer edge size gold is now transformed into several grains of 10 nanometer gold cubes. No reaction took place. Only physical process. Large particle has become now smaller particles. From a very large particle, you have obtained smaller particles. From big size, you have obtained very small nanoparticles. So this is logically correct. Top-down approach. Top-down approach or physical methods. We call this method as a physical method because there are no chemical reaction involved. Whereas in chemical methods are also known as bottom-up approach, you can still get the same 10 nanometer gold particles, for example, or 50 nanometer cadmium sulfide, or zinc oxide, titanium oxide, or even some polymers or anything, or from graphite to graphene, or from graphite to carbon nanotube by conducting some chemical reaction on some molecular precursors or ionic precursors. So definitely in chemical method, there is a chemical process involved. Chemical reaction is involved. Can you name any one chemical reaction? Any chemical reaction? One of you please. One of you please name any chemical reaction. Can be anything.
Chemical precipitation.
Yeah, chemical precipitation is a general term. I am asking specifically. You take one specific chemical compound and precipitate it using its molecular or ionic precursors. That is what I am asking. Simple chemical reaction. I have already told. Take tap water containing some chlorides, add a silver nitrate solution. Tap water already in the solution, water, right? It's not frozen water, it's not ice. Tap water, liquid H2O containing some chloride. Add silver nitrate solution. Silver nitrate is in the form of a solid generally. Take some amount of silver nitrate, dissolve it in the water. What will you get? You will get silver nitrate solution. Then you take 1 or 2 drops of this silver nitrate, add it to the chloride containing tap water. What will you see? What will happen? All of you
Silver
have done
chloride
this experiment. Yes, a curdy white precipitate would be formed. I am sure all 99% of all of you would have seen this, would have conducted this reaction. There is a chemical reactions taking place between Ag plus of silver nitrate solution and Cl minus of chloride containing tap water. Ag plus Cl minus giving rise to a solid AgCl precipitation. You believe it or not, that curdy white precipitate is a nanomaterial. So silver chloride precipitate, you got it. and mostly in the form of nanostructures. 20 years, 30 years before, we don't know. Now we know. We have a better microscope. We can analyze what is the grain size, what is the morphology, what is the canopy, etc. So silver nitrate in this case is known as ionic precursor or precursor molecule simply. What is precursor? I'm sure you'll agree with me. The translation or the meaning for the word precursor is something prior or origin for something. When you want to get gold, naturally maybe you will have to dig. If any resources are found on the earth crust, maybe you can get directly gold. Otherwise, if you want to synthesize or if you want to make gold particles or gold in the lab, you can visit Thangamayil or GRT or any other showrooms and buy some grams of gold and keep it in the lab. That is different. But if you want to synthesize, you will have to synthesize from its starting materials, precursors, ionic precursors or molecular precursors, simply known as precursor molecules. To get gold, the simplest starting material or precursor could be auric chloride, HAuCl4, HAuCl4, auric chloride. How? This is what we have done. We have seen. You had something, then it will initiate some reaction, chemical reaction. We are going to see. Then Au3 plus present in the auric chloride will get reduced or will get precipitated as Au. It's as simple as that. So the take-home point from this slide is there are two prominent approaches for fabrication of nanostructured materials. They are physical methods and chemical methods. They are also known as top-down approach, bottom-up approach, respectively. This is the schematic view of synthesis or fabrication of nanostructured material. These are the nanoparticles, nanograins, and this is a bulk material, large size. But these are all ionic particles, ionic precursors. You had something, conduct a chemical reaction. There is aggregate formation, then finally leads to formation of particles or grains. So under these chemical and physical methods, there are several methods available to adopt in the lab or for any commercial applications. Under physical methods, there are several physical methods. Under chemical methods, there are several chemical methods. Simply, ball milling is one technique, one of the physical methods. Sputtering or evaporation is another physical method, including AC sputtering, DC sputtering, or laser ablation, or physical vapor depositions, are some of the examples, or few examples. What is ball milling? I told you, take the bulk material, take a strong hammer and hammer it, subdivide it. It's kind of a ball milling method. From a large particle, mill it, milling, flooring. Okay, from wheat grain or any other large grains, you get the flour, right? What you do? You are milling it. You are subdividing large grains into smaller grains. Ball milling. Sputtering. Thermal evaporation, laser ablation, or laser ablation, physical vapor depositions are some of the examples for physical methods. Few examples. So under chemical methods, Precipitation reduction is one method. Electrodeposition, this was chemical reduction or precipitation, or chemical vapor depositions, salt gel, hydrothermal, microemulsion are some of the examples. Let's move on. What are the characteristics of these methods? What are the merits and demerits of these methods? Let's concentrate on the physical method. Are you with me? My screen and voice are audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Let's concentrate on a few minutes on physical methods. Physical method also known as top-down approach. As we have seen in the top-down approach, a large particle bulk material is subdivided into nano, something like this. A large silver cube, gold cube, or titanium oxide, or any other material for that matter, take a hammer, go on subdividing in such a way that you reach grain sizes 1 to 100 nanometer. This is the process taking place in any physical process, physical methods. No chemical reaction is involved. Only physical phenomena or physical process is taking place. This top-down approach or physical method is almost similar to that of making a stone statue. Or simply, top-down approach is analogous to making a stone statue, something like this. So from a stone, okay, go on subdividing in such a way that you end up with a very beautiful structure. It may be an idol, or it may be you and me or anybody. I'm sure you will agree with me. Making a stone or such a statue will involve definitely wastages. Definitely wastages. These are some of the methods: ball milling, sputtering, epitaxy, physical vapor depositions. This is what we have seen in the unit 1. You take a very big particles, 10 nanometer gold, silver, platinum, or titanium oxide, or anything, go on subdividing until you reach the grain size of about 10 nanometer. Typical example for ball milling physical methods. So we have also seen, so when you do so, there is increase in the surface area, surface to volume ratio. Okay, surface to volume ratio is very large. We have seen it. So the lately joined student, don't worry about these numbers. I will come back in the remedial classes. Physical methods. There is wastage of materials. It's like making a stone statue. There are no chemical reactions taking place. And the other advantages of these physical methods are you can make very large sizes. Depending on the method, maybe you can make a thin film of one A4 sheet. Thin film of one A4 sheet you can make. Why only A4 sheet? Any size you can make it. Physical vapor deposition or sputtering, etc. Bottom-up approach or chemical approach. As the name implies, you will have to conduct some reaction, or when you mix two chemicals together, when you bring two starting materials together, when you mix two ionic precursors or molecular precursors together at a suitable condition, it may be a temperature or time or duration. Definitely there will be some chemical reaction, At the end, you will end up with some precipitate. And this approach is known as chemical approach or bottom-up approach. From very tiny ions or molecules, you are building a significant grain sizes. That is why from the bottom of the ions and the molecules, you are getting the grain. Whereas in the top-down approach, from very big particle, you are getting the smaller particles. Here from very tiny we cannot call nano, ions and molecules. Ionic size is how much? Sub-nano, less than 1 nanometer. Most of the ions. From such smaller ions, you are building the material of grain sizes 1 to 100 nanometer. That is why the name is bottom-up approach. So this chemical approach or bottom-up approach is like making an house or building an house, construction of house. From the several scraps or from several components, that may be wood or gravel, sand, cement, or steel rods, etc. Using such materials, several components, then you make a house, very nice house, or some meaningful house structure you make. From several components, you are making one house. I'm sure you'll agree with me. Compared to the physical approach, in the chemical approach, there are not much wastages. It's almost like from the waste, the house is built, utilizing the waste, something like that. What makes these nanomaterials to be prepared by chemical approaches? Of course, there is a chemical reactions taking place. Then those chemical entities, ions or molecules, are held by strong bonds, chemical bonds. Even in the case of metals, there is a strong metallic bonds. No doubt that between Na plus and Cl minus, there is a strong electrostatic force. Chemical approach is like building a house, construction of house from various scrap materials. Involves less wastage and definite involvement of a reaction. It can be just a precipitation reaction or reduction reaction, oxidation reaction, or conversion reaction, decomposition reaction. Several reactions may be possible. Any of those reactions, sometimes multiple reactions possible. So similar to the merits and demerits of physical methods, here also the merit is less wastage, and the merit is it is possible to tune the particle size, and it is possible to tune the composition, and it is possible to get uniform size, and it is possible to get uniform distribution. I am introducing several new terminologies, so please wait for a few minutes. I will explain all those things. There are several merits under physical methods and chemical methods. And also there is a limitation in the chemical method also. I told you that in the physical method, large structures, nanostructure can be possible to make. But here, large structure may be limited, but you can tune the composition, you can shape, whatever the shape you want, you can make it. Whatever the size you want, you can make it. Whatever the composition you can have it, you can make it by using chemical approach. These are some of the chemical approaches or chemical methods. Reduction precipitation, hydrothermal, solvothermal, salt gel, microemulsion. I am sure all these terminologies are new to you. That's what we are going to learn. Maybe next 4 or 5 classes, we are going to learn. So for simplicity, we will start with the chemical methods. We will start with the chemical synthesis. Typically, how a chemical reaction or chemical synthesis is made, as we know, as I told in the beginning, there are starting materials required. Starting materials are required. They may be in the solid state, both the materials may be in the solid state, or both the materials may be in the liquid state, or both the materials also may be in the gaseous state, or it can be different phases, a solid and a liquid, solid and a gas, etc. When you bring two chemical substances together, there will be a chemical reaction and it might lead to formation of some precipitate. So for example, you consider this as a silver chloride, no, sodium chloride or tap water. This has a silver nitrate or sodium borohydride. You mix them together, there can be a precipitation. Or you take any other precursor, for example, cobalt nitrate, add ammonia to that, there can be a precipitation, cobalt hydroxide precipitation or cobalt oxide precipitation. When you bring two chemicals together, either just precipitation may take place or reduction may take place. Either just precipitation may take place or reduction may take place. So formation of sodium chloride, formation of silver chloride from the tap water by addition of silver nitrate is a precipitation reaction. Silver chloride will be precipitated. Or you take a cobalt nitrate, nickel nitrate, or magnesium nitrate, or aluminum nitrate, copper nitrate, need not be only nitrate, can be chloride, sulfate, etc. You add any alkali or ammonia or liquid ammonia or ammonium hydroxide. In most cases, you will end up with the precipitation. They can be metal hydroxide or oxides. There is a reaction, but there is no reduction here, just only precipitation. Cobalt 2 plus present as a cobalt nitrate, here is precipitating as a cobalt hydroxide. Zinc 2 plus present in the form of zinc nitrate. When you add sodium hydroxide or ammonium hydroxide, it results in zinc oxide precipitate. From tap water, you add silver nitrate to that, silver chloride will be precipitated. The same silver chloride, instead of silver nitrate, tap water containing chloride, instead of silver nitrate, if you add sodium borohydride or lithium aluminum hydride or simply hydrogen or generally any reducing agent, silver plus or silver ion will get reduced to silver metal. Ag plus is a charged species having one charge. What is the charge having on it? One charge, plus one. Then we react with the sodium borohydride or lithium borohydride or simply hydrogen or any electron donor. Ag plus will get reduced to Ag. there is a gain of electron by the Ag plus. GeR, gain of electron is reduction. GeR. The opposite, we know that loss of electron is oxidation. Leo. Leo means lion. How it makes sound? GeR. Leo GeR. Gain of electron is reduction, loss of electron is oxidation. But in both cases, you will end up with the precipitate. You believe it or not, and they are all non-structured materials. And they are all non-structured materials. How it happens? How it happens? When you mix a tap water containing sodium chloride with silver nitrate solution, both are in the solution. Both are in the solution. And you are getting a solid precipitate. Or you take titanium chloride or any titanium salt, mix with some precipitating agent, and you get a solid. Excuse me. Or zinc nitrate in the solution, you had ammonia, liquid ammonia, or ammonium hydroxide, or sodium hydroxide, or any alkali for that matter. From the liquid, you get a solid particles, precipitation. Very fascinating. Simple, but very fascinating. How it happens? These three phenomena should take place. The first phenomena is there should be a creation of supersaturation. When you bring two molecular or ionic precursor together, excuse me, there should be a creation of supersaturation. Saturation we know. What is saturation? Something is saturated. This fellow is saturated. He cannot drink beyond this. When you go to treat, your friend has called for a treat. You are going, having a treat. I leave it to you what you are going to have. And finished. You are consumed enough, saturated. Saturation. You take a sodium chloride solid, go on adding into the water. How long sodium chloride will dissolve? Up to certain concentration. After certain concentration, sodium chloride will not dissolve, or it will dissolve very light, very little. That condition is saturation. The extreme saturation condition is known as supersaturation. Unless supersaturation is reached, when you bring two molecular or ionic precursor together, there won't be any chemical reaction or there won't be any precipitation. Supersaturation followed by nucleation should take place in order to have a precipitation. When you bring silver nitrate into the tap water, you are mixing in the vessel, and the Na plus, Ag plus ions are coming, and Cl minus also there, and Cl minus from the tap water, and Ag plus from the silver nitrate. They come together. They make a very tiny particles initially. So how? By combining several Na plus, Ag plus and several Cl minus. Hundreds of thousands of ions, they come together and make a tiny particles. That tiny entity is known as nuclei. And the phenomena or the process of making this nuclei is known as nucleation from the ionic or molecular precursors. When the nucleation can take place, until the supersaturation has reached. Once the nucleation is taking place, when several nuclei come together and they make a precipitate by adopting growth mechanism, then you get nanoparticle precipitating. This is the simplest chemical reaction whenever you conduct. These three phenomena taking place. These three events taking place when you mix two chemicals or two precursors, ionic precursor, molecular precursors together to facilitate the nucleation and to facilitate the growth and to facilitate the supersaturation. You adopt certain conditions. It may be a concentration, it may be a time duration, it may be a temperature, so that you can increase or control the nucleation, or you can increase or control the growth, so that you are going to get the nanoparticles grown. Nanoparticles grow. One example is this is what I was talking to you. So the final aim of this process, this chemical process, is to get gold nanoparticles. You believe it or not, this dark gray are gold nanoparticles. I don't know whether you can able to see the bar here. I don't know what is the size here, but bar is given. Number I'm not able to see. If you can see, you please see the size. These dark gray spherical are gold particles. How will you get? This is chemical method. You need to have some ionic or molecular precursor, and that is Au3+. That's what I told, HAuCl4. Don't worry, I will never ask you to name this formula, HAuCl4, auric chloride. Gold, it should be gold chloride, right? But it is, I am telling it as a auric chloride. We know that Au is coming from Latin or Greek word aurum, aurum, A-R-U-M. From there it is coming Au. Then its chloride is auric, aurum, auric chloride. This is the ionic or molecular precursor for gold. Then this is one precursor or reactant. There is another precursor or precipitating or reducing agent or starting material, sodium borohydride. Don't worry, I will never ask you to give this formula. NaBH4, sodium borohydride. Believe it or not, this is a reducing agent, also precipitating agent. When you mix AuCl4, HAuCl4 and sodium borohydride in a suitable condition, it may be a temperature, concentration, etc. So the yellow color Au3+ solution will become sometimes red, blue, magenta, or even colorless. It means Au3+ has reduced to Au with certain sizes. All those who attended previous classes, they will know why such different color you are getting. What happens? What is the reason? And you get a Au3+, maybe in the form of a precipitate or maybe in the form of a colloid. Colloidal. Colloidal is nothing but combination of solid particles dispersed in a liquid. It's not just a liquid alone. Colloidal suspension is suspension of solid particles in the liquid phase. Is the colloid. And it will show Tyndall effect. Particles will have a Brownian movement. You can trace the mobility of the particles. You can see the path if it is a colloidal particles. If there are no solid particles, it is not possible to see the Tyndall effect. We have seen already, I have shown you optical property. So we are taking an ionic precursor, reducing agent or precipitating agent, conduct the reaction, you are getting nanocolloids. It may be a precipitate or colloid. So in addition to these ionic and molecular precursors, I have also added here another material, some blue color, like a test tube. Very small amount of some material known as thiols is also added. And this is one example thiol. It can be anything, anything. These molecules. Don't worry, I will never ask you to draw these molecules. And thiols generally, one ligand, generally they are known as ligands. One example is thiols. And so this is the thiol, SH. The X can be anything, OH, CH3, OOH, NH2, etc. So the purpose of addition of these thiols, you please wait for next class or next to next class. There is a purpose of addition of thiols. When you add, what are the characteristics you are going to get? When you don't add, what are the characteristics you are going to get? We'll know. Okay, so it's not as simple as I have explained the chemical process. There are a lot of challenges involved in the preparation or fabrication of nanostructured materials. It's not just taking two chemical starting materials and provide them a suitable environment, suitable condition, and you get a nanostructured material. It's not as easy as that. No. There are a lot of fundamental issues, challenges associated with the fabrication of nanostructured materials. And they are, one is getting identical particle sizes is the great challenge. You ask any chemist, nanochemist who are synthesizing nanomaterials, nanoparticles, how tedious, how challenging is to get the identical size of the particles. What are identical size of the particles? When you make 1 gram of nanocolloids, the nanoparticle dispersed in the colloid should have all the particles same size, also known as mono size or uniform size, something like this. You see here, this is some nanoparticles. All the particles are having same size. It's not great, it's not simple to get such materials. Whereas this morphology has different sizes. Large size, smaller size, different sizes. Am I audible? Screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, visible, sir.
It's a great challenge to get mono-sized or uniform-sized particles. The other challenge or issue is not only getting the identical size, getting the identical shape or morphology is also a great challenge. It's not the same size is an issue. Same shape also important. What is the same size or same shape, identical shape? All these particles are nearly cubical. Whereas here different size shapes, hexagonal, that hexagonal itself for different shapes, okay, or pentagonal sometimes, or sometimes nearly spherical, different shapes. You believe it or not, properties of these will be different, properties of these will be different. Not only same size also important. Great challenge. Then when you are dealing with the different compositions, for example, if you are trying to prepare gold silver alloys or nickel cobalt alloys of different compositions. And it is important that you need to have identical chemical compositions in all the particles. If you are preparing 50-50 composition ratio of gold silver alloy, all the particles should have the same compositions. This is not simply possible. I don't say it is not possible, but it is challenging. Not only chemical composition, they should have the same crystal structure. Those who attended my previous classes, they know three structures. I have introduced three structures: atomic structure, molecular structure, crystal structure. We have also seen electronic structure, correct? So now you know what are crystal structures. There are 7 crystal structures. All the particles should have the same chemical composition as well as the chemical structure. Great challenge. Lot of issues. Not only the chemical composition should be maintained on the surface and also on the core. This may be a spherical, cubical particles, gold, silver particles. Okay, so gold, silver particles. The composition at the surface, all the surfaces, and also the core of the cube should be identical. And you will have to have a method for preparation of that material. It's not simply possible. It's not simple. Then the particle should be highly dispersed. All the particles that you synthesize should be dispersed, or they should be non-agglomerated, individually dispersed particles, something like this. I'm sure you'll agree with me, these are all aggregates. Particles are held together, crowded, highly crowded. But you will agree with me, this is highly dispersed particles. You can count, you can see each particle is separated. You believe it or not, the properties of these particles or colloids consisting of this nature of particles will be different. Particles are the colloids consisting of this nature of particles. This nature of particles will be totally different. So 4 great challenges, fundamental issues in synthesis of nanomaterials, fabrication of nanomaterials. I think I am done. 12 o'clock. We'll stop now. I hope I am not making complications. We'll see more on the next class. If you would like to ask anything, any comments, clarification, you can do so. You can throw.
Sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, for all sub-student, we will be give this internal exam together or individually or separately. I don't know.
We will give separate. I told them you discuss with the class representative. I will also have a meeting separately with the newcomers. At least 6-7 students have joined last week. I will elaborate. Don't worry.
So,
Okay, thank you, sir.
So regarding newcomers, sir,
Yes.
they are asking whether they are selected or not. They have got that mail, sir, from the university.
I sent yesterday email. Why they have not checked? 3 students have checked and they responded. Why other 3 have not checked? Huh?
No,
The
sir.
days are not like this.
One
Staff
is
student.
late, sir.
Huh?
My friend is worried, sir, because three of us from Bhutan, sir. So they have announced only two members from each country. So one of my friend is worried. They have mentioned her name in the list, but only two from each star country, sir. We are of three members right now.
You are from Bhutan,
Yes, sir.
and two of your friends have already got it.
Yes, sir.
Maximum three from each country only.
Oh, okay, okay, sir. That means all are selected, right, sir?
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I informed. I think they responded also. Are here?
Yes, sir. Right now we are chatting, sir. She's asking about the admissions and all, sir.
Yeah. So anything on the subject? Anybody would like to add anything on the subject?
Sir, I have seen ball milling technique used in paint industry, sir. But you say that in ball milling there will be a wastage will be produced. But I had seen after they doing ball milling of raw materials, they will add water and nearly the vessel will be the ball milling
Yes.
drum will be
So
empty.
generally, in the physical method, there are wastages, but you can minimize the wastages. Generally, there may be wastages, but you can minimize the wastages. Okay. So when the people make when the goldsmith or who makes the these ornaments, okay, from
Yes.
gold bar to some structures, okay, either pendant or anything. There is a definite wastages, right? So there is a wastage, but they can reuse it. Similarly, other chemicals also, there may be a wastage and they can reuse it. But generally, there is a wastage in the physical process, unlike in the physical chemical process.
Yes, sir. I have observed they using soybean oil or something add
Yeah.
into the drum after roll milling, and they
Yes.
make a colloidal solution and reuse that.
Yes. 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 So in the case of deposition, physical vapor deposition, I don't think you will be able to 100% utilize the bulk material to create nanostructures. Anything else?
Yes, sir. I have a doubt
Yes. Yeah, please.
uh, w- about the precipitating and reducing agents. What
Yes.
they exactly do, sir?
So as the name implies, reducing agent will reduce metal ions into metals. Metal ions and metals are different, right? Au3 plus is a metal ion. Au0 is a metal. Okay, how will you convert this Au3 plus into Au? You will have to reduce it. Charged metal ion should be reduced to zero or neutral charge metals. The agent that they do this process is known as reducing agent. And in this example, what we have seen is sodium borohydride. Sodium borohydride. Okay. So precipitating agent, they may not reduce it, but they will precipitate. They will precipitate something. Okay, so precipitating agents will just precipitate, they don't reduce. From zinc ion, zinc oxide may be precipitated. From titanium 4 plus, titanium oxide may be precipitated. Or from magnesium 2 plus, magnesium oxide may be precipitated. Magnesium 2 plus will remain same in magnesium nitrate as well as magnesium oxide, and it is not reduced. But the agent that they do this precipitation is known as precipitating agent. But in both cases, there is a reaction. There is a reduction reaction, here precipitation reaction. That's all. I hope I answered.
I got it, sir. Thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else? If not, thank you. See you next class.
Sir, sir,
So
sir, for the
recently joined SAF students, please tell your friends. I will have a interactive meeting with them. I will introduce about the department, university, and the course. And from tomorrow, they can start attending the classes. Yes, please. Shahrukh.
Yes, sir.
sir, for the upcoming internal exam, how will be the pattern of the question paper, sir? Like,
The teachers will inform you. There will be a part A and part B. Part A may have a Google form and you will have to fill up or provide some short answer. Part B is a descriptive. You will have to write on the paper and scan it, convert into PDF file, and a single file you will have to share it to the teachers.
okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So your respective teachers will give the proper information. This is the general. Part A and Part B. Part A usually we do with the Google form. 1 mark, mostly 1 mark, and part B is a descriptive. We'll have to write and make a PDF and send it to email, preferably email. Anything else? Anybody would like to make anything on the subject?
Sir, not on the subject. Is there any
Yeah.
possibility to provide access to library for students who are residing in Puducherry, sir?
Maybe you can try. Okay, research scholars are in the campus. You can try. Make a request, email request. Maybe I can reply to that. Take printout or bring it in the smartphone and show it in the gate. And so if they are allowing, you can have a look. I think they may allow.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Maybe only for local, since you are already in the city, it may be facilitated. Others are not encouraged as of now. Other state students, foreign students. So until the university makes the decision, please do not make any such effort. Local students are very nearby students. If you are anxious to see the campus, okay, not necessarily only the library like Said Raman. If you are interested to see the campus, I think you can make a try. Make a request, I will reply. With that reply, you can show it on the gate and they may allow. Mostly they will allow. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank you.